Hi everyone, welcome to our lunch chat, which is our first episode of our live chat. Today, we are going to be joined by our very own Michelle Bouchard, and I'm just going to be waiting for her to join the chat down below. And we're going to be talking about a couple things, but mainly our All Aboard campaign, which is huge, and a couple other things that we have going on. So while she connects, we'll be waiting right now. So, wow, there's already 14 of you. I don't think Michelle is on yet. And there's always technical difficulties when connecting. But I don't know if you have any questions right now that you would like to leave it on the comments. Oh, okay, she's joining soon. I see her. It's funny because you would think that after about like a year and a half of live chats, we would get this down at the beginning. I think she's about to pop on and it's not working. Oh, there it is. There she goes. Hi,
Hello.
Michelle. How are you?
How are you, Stephanie?
I'm very good. So, as some of you may know, we were doing this episode beforehand on Samtrans, so you may recognize me, but please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Bouchard. I'm the executive director here at Caltrain.
So, okay. Today we have a long episode, and I wanted to say first off, thank you for joining us. I'm a little nervous. I haven't done this in a couple of months, and we have a lot of things. Oh, by the way, people, when I'm looking to the side, it's because we have an agenda that sometimes, we can't memorize. So now that Michelle has introduced herself, I wanted to ask you, what are you excited about this campaign, or about All Aboard, about, just transit coming back as people start coming to their daily life?
Oh my gosh. There's almost too much to mention. So what I'm super excited about is that Caltrain continues to play a vital role in the lives of people on the peninsula, and hopefully more so as people contemplate coming back to work or going back to school or going to the baseball game. We just increased our service on August 30th. We're providing more service than we've ever provided during the weekdays. We're providing service later on the weekends, and we've also increased service to hourly locals. So I'm really excited that we are diversifying our rider base, and we're starting to see riders come back. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're providing super relevant service. But number two is it's a clean and safe riding environment. Still as enjoyable as it was pre-pandemic. So I could go on and on. So I'm just going to sit.
No, it's okay. So I think we kind of jumped ahead, but that's okay. Before getting into the details of all that, because there are a lot of details, I wanted to ask you, do you know how numbers are currently doing right now with ridership, and just, adjacent to what we were just talking about, how people are coming back? Do you have an idea? I think a lot of people I've seen on social media, for those of you that don't know, I'm behind a lot of the stuff on social media, and I've seen a lot of people asking how we're doing. So if you would let our audience know, because even though people are watching now, this is also going to be available like forever on our account. So if they want to look up this information of where we stand today, may we provide that to them?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. And again, it's been a long road to recovery. And I think we're going to be on it for a long time. But in terms of where we were, let's say a year ago, last August, now we're up 157%. And I know that sounds like a huge number, but we think average weekday, close to 10,000 riders. That compares to 65,000 pre-pandemic. So still rather low, but I will say this, with the increase in service, we really are seeing a big bump. And so I think if we were to have this chat sometime in October, I would tell you that we had many, many more riders this September compared to last September.
So you heard it here first. Michelle will come back in October and we will have this conversation all over again because she just promised on live. So, I mean, I think that's very contractual. I'm just saying. Okay, so another topic that obviously a lot of people, if you don't know, All Aboard is a campaign that we're running with many, many other agencies in the Bay Area. I can't sit here and name all of them because then that would be like the entire live. But I want to say it's over 27 or 27, including us. And a lot of every different agency is doing something different to focus on how they're doing to, you know, bring transit back into the Bay Area. For us, something that we're doing this month, and if you want to go into more detail with that, is that we have 50% off all fares. And I have to sound like an infomercial right now, excluding GoPass. If you wanted to talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We decided actually a little while ago to partner with Bart on this promotion because first of all, we really wanted to have a big bang, you know, increase service and also give massive discounts because we wanted to draw new riders to the system and also welcome riders back. The reason why we chose to do this in concert with Bart is as the two, you know, large regional rail providers, we always hear how important it is that we stay in sync in terms of schedules, and we've worked really hard on our transition at Bart Millbrae, and so we thought, hey, wouldn't it be great for us to also combine that with the fare promotion? So my hope is that it's really going to benefit our customers and also, like we say here at Caltrain, get more butts in seats.
All right. Well, then, as y'all heard, that is one of the biggest reasons why we're doing this 50% off. And if you haven't seen, I actually ran, so I'm supposed to say we, but okay, whatever. I ran a poll last week. And I was curious to see how many people actually were aware of the 50% off. And there was like 15% of people that hadn't heard about the 50% off. So if you hadn't heard, now you know. You heard it from Michelle. You heard it from us, we. And just another, you know, reminder, 50% off September, excluding GoPass. All right, so you mentioned it earlier, and it's something that did take into effect the 30th of August. But we do have a new schedule, something that is super robust, the most trains we've ever run. May you go into detail about that, please?
Oh, absolutely. Because I think one of the things that people will be really excited to see is the return of the baby bullet. I think that's one of the things that we definitely thought we needed to put on the sideline during the pandemic because we needed to be providing more local service. But now with a big bang, we brought back peak period service that has limited trains. It's got baby bullet trains. And so I think we've got a type of service for absolutely any kind of trip that wants to be taken, whether it's during the week or on the weekend.
I know right now you mentioned the baby bullets. That was something that we saw that people were yearning for in the last year. And so the return of the baby bullet, not that this schedule, like the entirety of it is so important, but I just thought it was really funny. A lot of like trending topics were, where's the baby bullet? Is the baby bullet coming back? And I have to say that before I got hired, I had no idea what a baby bullet was. I didn't know what people were talking about. So now I am very well aware of what it is. But its popularity is very surprising to me. I was like, at first I was like, what is a baby bullet? And now I know because it's back.
I have to tell you, it's a service we launched back in 2004, and at that time our ridership was experiencing a lull. It was during the .com bust. I don't know if you're old enough to remember that. I don't know what that is. So, anyways, but moving forward, it's a type of service that has resonated because it's been so reliable. And it's a way to get from San Francisco to San Jose. You can read your book the entire way. Pre-pandemic, it would beat the car on 101, absolutely always. And we'll get back there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, obviously, with everything and everyone, it's a work in progress. I'm like, just life itself. Even though everything's coming back to normal, it's almost like a new normal. So I just think people were happy to see something that they recognized, which was the baby bullet. Okay, so another thing I guess that I wanted to bring up is that on social media, we have seen that, just ridership has changed so much, like we talked about earlier. There's obviously comparing numbers is very difficult because it's a completely different era. I think that's what I would want to call it. It's an era. And like people, like are you, I guess, aware of like who's riding the trains now and like how are we adapting our service to that? I know that obviously peak pandemic, we were focusing a lot on people that were using the train or transportation to get to work because they had to, like that was their only way of getting there. But how has that changed since then?
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. Pre-pandemic, we were totally focused on commute riders, and our service was highly peaked. So bunch of trains in the morning peak, bunch of trains in the PM peak, not so much in the other times of the day. And we, much like other transit agencies during the pandemic, we completely retooled ourselves, in part because we adopted an equity policy that really requires us to pay attention to all different types of riders, regardless of, whether they're commuting, whether they're getting to essential jobs. And so our retooling is comprised of providing much more relevant service during the off-peak and during the weekends, in addition to the peak period. And one of the things I'll say, I didn't mention it before, but our ridership on the weekends is pretty much, it's 50 or 60% of pre-pandemic. It's doing really well, and it is in large part because we have been able to increase service and also provide relevant service to folks who aren't necessarily going to 9-to-5 jobs. And so I think we should be really proud of that as an organization. And I think it's something that's going to make us a much more sustainable service into the future.
I think that what you said is super true. Just coming from, like, I guess the social perspective on my side, obviously during the core of the pandemic, our messaging, obviously not just us, but like with every transit agency, not just when it came to like buses, trains, flying, it was essential travel. But right now, everyone is, we're trying to remember that there's more to just like, the essential part of life. Like there's, we're getting back to like right now, which is going to be the next topic, like the Giants. People are using the trains to get to the Giants. And I know that you're a huge fan. So how has ridership with the Giants been? Like, I know that like on my social end, I see everyone like, oh, it's my first time back, like getting to a game using public transit. And if you wanted to just, talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're excited to see the Giants back playing in the stadium. And one of the things that's beneficial to the retooling of our service is that we've actually got regularly scheduled trains during time periods where they can serve Giants riders. And then also we're paying really, really close attention to when we need to add additional trains largely to take people away from the stadium. And so the issue is also then on the other end of the system. So not so much the Giants, but at the SAP Center, we are providing later service. And that has always been an issue because we have a train that typically would leave before the hockey game was over or the concert was over. So we're able to provide more service to special events on both ends of the system. I will say one of the challenges for us, though, I mean, I think after 2 years of pandemic or almost 2 years of pandemic, I think our riders have gotten used to a lot more space in the trains. Mm-hmm. And so we are seeing crowds for the Giants, and our ridership is really doing very well. We're not back to where we were pre-pandemic, but we're carrying a few thousand riders. And so what that means is we've really got to be cognizant of safety. We got to make sure that we're monitoring that masks are being worn on the trains, particularly in those crowded trains. And when they're not, our conductors have masks that they can give to customers who don't have a facial covering. So we're balancing, I mean, we're so happy to see the riders come back, but we're also balancing that with the mandate for safety. And so that's something that, you know, when you talk about the new normal, that's one of the new normal things.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you bring that up, because obviously as I'm like monitoring everything like on social, we see that a lot, like not just I, but the team. And we see that a lot, and that's something that I wanted to bring up, but you brought it up before I could. It is very important for anybody watching this that if you are riding the train, remember that a mask is still required, regardless of your vaccination status. And so please be, you know, cognizant of the people around you. It's like sometimes it's someone's first time getting on the train again, and they might be scared or like leaving their house. So just, I don't know. It's like we've both been saying, it's a new era. It's not even a new normal. It's not normal. It's just a new way of living. So the people that are headed to games or events, please, if you are, just remember to take your mask, just like Michelle has. It's obviously something that like we had to do for a very long time, and on our end we continue to do so. So please don't forget. So sounds okay. Okay. I think we had another sport event question going on, but I guess we kind of jumped to that one. But I see that there has been a lot of demand for, you know, trains when it comes to leisurely events, and like not just, we just touched base on that. Like you mentioned, you know, the SAP Center. I don't know too much about the Sharks games. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that, because you probably have more experience with that than I do. But like Michelle said earlier, there are a lot of, you know, events coming on and then just coming up that are, you know, I guess they were on pause for the last year. So if you do want to take a train, and a safe way to get to these events, don't forget about Caltrain or any other form of transportation that you would like to take. Because remember, you know, be safe, because sometimes you'll all be drinking at these events. So I would rather see you on the train than anything in your car.
100%.
Okay,
100%.
So one thing that I hear a lot on Twitter, or I keep forgetting, you know what, I said I would mess up today, but it's it's a combination. A lot of things that we hear on Twitter is that transferring to other transit systems. Sometimes one of the things we hear about is the Millbrae station with Bart. So how does the new schedule accommodate with Bart?
Yeah. So and thank you for asking, because it's one of the things that we know has been a request of passengers, and I think that's a polite way of saying it, to improve the connection there. And we have really doubled down on ensuring that we're well planned with the planners over at Bart. And so it is true, we've got a bunch of demands on different services and different services that the train needs to coordinate with. But we see the Millbrae connection as the prime one that we definitely need to accommodate. And so just in terms of changing schedules, we make sure now, and will make sure in the future, that we are coordinating with them well in advance. And our goal has been to have about a 10-minute transfer at Bart. And so what does 10 minutes allow you to do? It allows you to, you know, if you got to run up the stairs and get a Bart ticket and come downstairs, it allows for all of that to happen in a way where you're not, you know, running if you're dragging your luggage up the stairs. So that's a big deal. Having said that, you know, Bart has a lot of the, well, not a lot of the same constraints, has the same constraints and more, because their network has several sync points, and they've got multiple changes a year. I just was talking to staff. We've had actually 6 schedule changes since the beginning of COVID. Before that, I think the last major schedule change was in something like 2012. And so, you know, it's just important that people know that it's something we're focused on. And I just think it's going to get better and better.
So I completely agree. And I think that a lot of people, when this schedule change was like coming up, I think that they were weary, but they were, you know, wanting to know what it was going to be. And there's been a lot of, you know, positive, you know, reactions to it. A lot of people, I have seen a lot of people sharing their photos, or just this month, actually, I forgot to mention when we started talking about this, is it's transit month. And so it's also rail safety month, by the way. I also remember it's like 2 in 1. But a lot of people on Twitter especially have been sharing their journeys of how they connect, you know, from Bart to Caltrain, or from Caltrain to Bart, and then they just take other forms of transportation. So don't think that we aren't seeing those messages. I see those every day. So if you want to share your transit journey with us, go ahead and tag us, shameless plug-in, and I will go ahead and share that with the crowd. And so something that a lot of people are asking about, and I think you are a very good person to be asking this too, is what is the electrification update? Is there any?
Oh my gosh. Is there an update? Do you see this sweet little thing here? This is a scale version of one of our EMU cars, and EMU stands for electric multiple unit. And then I won't even go into what that is beyond that. But so here's what's going on with electrification, and I think many of our riders and folks in the community know that, you know, disappointingly we did announce a 2-year delay to the program, and you know, large programs like that, mega projects, they often run into issues. But what I want to focus on is the positive aspect of what's going on out there. We are well down the road with our program. And here is what is going to result from that. So the future of Caltrain is all about electrifying the line. And what is that going to do? It is going to improve the lives of people on the peninsula and in all of Northern California. Because what we're doing is we are definitely doing our part to stem global warming. But we're also doing amazing things for our customer experience. When you see these trains, and I had the opportunity to go out to Colorado where there's a test track and ride in the head end of the first train set that has come off the assembly line, and it's amazing. These trains are so quiet, they accelerate so quickly, and the ride is so smooth. And so when I think about what electrification means for our ridership, it means just an evolution of the riding experience. I mean, we're going to have Wi-Fi on these trains. It's just going to be such an amazing difference for how people will be getting up and down the peninsula. And then on top of that, for the communities that we operate in, it's going to be much quieter. So reduce diesel, reduce emissions. And the biggest thing is, when we're able to increase service, we're going to take the equivalent of 5.5 lanes of 101 off of 101, and we're putting them in our trains. And you know what? That's just an incredible thing to think about, and it's an incredible legacy that's happening here at Caltrain. In the life of an organization, you know, we are so lucky to have this be a project that we're engaged in, because most organizations just don't get to do that.
I think not just like I hear like the excitement in your voice about it, but like I just wanted to let you know that everyone's very excited. I know that it was, like you said, it was disappointing for some people, or probably for everyone, that we had to push, but obviously things happened and life happened, and life was hard for everyone, and you know, the project had to be pushed out a little bit, and I think it's just gonna make the arrival even sweeter, because it just made the wait a little longer, and that's okay. It's kind of like when there's like a movie premiere and then they push it out and then like people go watch it and it's amazing. I think that's the same outcome that's gonna happen from this. So ironically, this was actually not a part of the schedule, but now that you showed everybody, may you hold up your model EMU again, please? So if anyone is watching this and paying attention, or if anyone watches this in the future, we actually have an EMU model to give away.
No
I
way.
will be posting this again on Twitter, and I will be posting this again on our stories for those of you that are listening. This is like, you're hearing it first. So I will be announcing this on stories, and I will be able to put, the rules of the giveaway there. But if you're interested in winning an EMU model, make sure to pay attention, because that will be coming up, if not today, early next week. So I was like, another shameless plug, and I'm like full of those. It's like, advertisement right here. And so we actually had a couple questions come in through Instagram and through the feed as we were talking right now. And someone actually asked, is there a plan or timeline for bringing baby bullets back on the weekends?
So let me say this. Right now, there is not a plan to do so or a timeline. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we need to have enough time for all of the construction work to get done. And so the more train service we have out there, the less the workers can get on the track and get the work done. So having said that, we're well aware of how popular the baby bullet trains were. And so as we think about future iterations of schedules, we definitely will have it in our parking lot, if you will, of desires. But right now, one of the things we really want to focus on is getting the electrification work done and getting our other capital construction programs done. And really the time that they do them is on the weekends and overnight during the week. So we really need to conserve construction windows.
And then I think your answer to this next question it's probably going to align the same way. It says, will it be possible to have 2+ trains per hour on weekends before the electrification? But it probably has to do or aligns very closely with the baby bullet question.
I think that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same answer.
Just based off your answer, that just makes sense. So for whomever asked those 2 questions, that is your answer. They are, the answer is very similar to both. So as of now, that is Michelle's answer. So like, if you wanted to hear the truth, that's what the truth is.
That's what the truth sounds like today.
And okay, so another question, and these are like live questions. So like we weren't, maybe not prepped for these, or at least I wasn't. Why can't the train run every 15 minutes like Muni?
Well, so I'm just gonna riff on that one. So, it's a matter of money, demand, equipment, resources, all of that. And so we're also not, we're a different model of service. Muni is a commuter, it's a transit service. We're commuter rail. So generally the definition of commuter rail is something that runs slightly less frequently. But I will say this, one of the things that makes Caltrain so unique is eventually we are going to try to get to a transit level of service. Wow. And so it's not that we can't, it's that we're building towards that. That's one of the things that electrification will get us. But it's, it also comes down to money and resources. So we're trying to get there. That's the goal. We just need to make sure that through the service vision, which I haven't talked about, our 2040 service vision, which is a strategic plan that was approved by our board just pre-pandemic, really does describe how we do get to a transit level of service.
Okay. Well, then there you go. You heard it first from Michelle. And
I was a little all over the place. Sorry about that.
No. I think that's the whole point of these conversations. So like when we start these off, it's almost like it's nerve-wracking for both parties, yourself and then whoever's hosting, because you're like, how's it gonna go? But I think that's the whole point of these. They're supposed to be chats. They're supposed to be, as, I guess, not as, I don't know, uptight as like meetings maybe or something like that. Yeah, this is more of a conversation for people to listen to and come back to and like be like, okay. So one last question, and
Sure.
I'm not going to say who asked this question because they will know who asked this question. I know who asked this question.
Okay.
Michelle, how did you get into trains and the industry? And did Thomas the Talk Engine have any influence?
Um, I'll answer the last question first. I predated Thomas, so Thomas had nothing to do with it. How did I get into the industry? I will tell you, I'm an economist and a planner by education, and I got into transit planning just out of grad school. And you know what? I didn't know that I liked trains, but I had a couple of really excellent mentors in my career, honestly. And I started here at Samtrans in the general planning department. And, one day I kind of looked over my cubicle wall and I saw another planner who was doing some fun stuff on the train side. And honestly, since 2000, I've just never looked back. And I've never been a train person per se, but I am 1000% a Caltrain person. There's no question about it.
See, I appreciate you sharing your story because Samtrans actually got this version out of me. Prior to this, prior to working for Caltrain, I knew nothing about Caltrain.
No way.
Because I'm not from the Bay Area. So I knew Southern California Transit. So to me, this is all very new. I also, I don't know, I didn't understand, just how useful it could be. So just like working here and being, exposed to this, like you said, it's just you become a fan, even if you know nothing about it, like me. And it's been great to see that and just like how far we've progressed and like what we've like. I've been here for a short period of time compared to a lot of other people, and I've seen how much we've done and just like the passion that you have for it. I think that's why it was great that you were our first guest for a CalChat, and I'm so happy to have you as part of episode 1.
Oh, you know what? I so much appreciate the opportunity, and I have to tell you, it's a point of pride, I think, for everybody that works for Caltrain, just to watch it grow and evolve. And what I think is great about Caltrain is even, for people that don't work for Caltrain, it is such an important part of their lives. And I just know so many people who are so psyched about Caltrain.
Yeah.
Because I do think it makes living on the peninsula a lot easier.
I think coming from like an outside perspective, because that's what I was when I first started, I saw it and I see it every day. We have fans in different parts of not just the United States, but the world. Like if I showed you the statistics, like people are like, a lot of people, we have fans from like, yes, we have fans from Southern California. We have people from the East Coast, from the middle of the United States. Then for some reason, I think we have fans in Australia, according to our TikTok account, which I don't know how that happened, but hey, we have another shameless plug-in. Yes, if you haven't followed us on TikTok, please go ahead and do so. We post very fun content, and sometimes, just sometimes, our EMU content gets put there first. So if we have anything new to show you, it's usually on TikTok, then it follows over here on Instagram and on Twitter. And so I don't think I have any more questions left, but is there anything that you wanted to add before we, end this conversation?
I don't. I just, it's been really great talking to you. And again, the shameless plug is this baby will be on the peninsula, the first one, in the beginning of next year. So I'm sure we'll be talking about that more, Stephanie. So
yeah, we probably will.
Out and see it.
Yes. So another, like, how Michelle had that lovely EMU. For those of you that didn't watch it, maybe about like 10 minutes ago when I said it, we have one EMU model to give away. Actually, we might have two, but don't quote me on that. But let's start off with one. We have one EMU model to give away, and I will be posting more about that on here, on Twitter, wherever you follow us. Keep an eye out for that for probably early next week. But I just thought it was a very good opportunity to talk about that. And we will be having another episode geared towards All Aboard, another CalChat, coming up in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that as well. And I feel like, oh yes, I already talked about it like briefly, but like I said, it is Transit Month and Rail Safety Month. So I know that Michelle probably agrees with me, but please, I don't, even if you're running late, please always wait for the gate. Like it just, it makes like probably Michelle could go more into detail with that, but please be safe. Never, ever, ever get on the tracks. Like, don't do it. If you see anything that looks suspicious, I know that I don't know the number by heart, which is terrible of me right now, but there is a number that you can call to report any incidents. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quickly because it is, Transit Month and Rail Safety Month. I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
No, absolutely. And I know we highlight Rail Safety Month, but you know what? Every day is Rail Safety Day. Every month is Rail Safety Month. Yep. And I can't emphasize enough. You know what? Your life is not worth getting across that track. And if you're running to catch a train, you know what? There's always going to be another train. So just, just be careful out there so you can enjoy the next moments in your life. That's everything I have to say about that.
I think someone actually added the number down in the comments. So if any of you want to write that down, take a screenshot. I think if I'm reading correctly, it's 877. It's either SAFE or SAF rail or 911. 911 is the best way. Sometimes they will be able to help you. So I think with that, I will be ending this first episode of our CalChat. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Michelle, for being a part of inaugurating what is CalChats. And I am so excited to see, when the EMU gets here, how that's going to happen. We'll probably be on like episode 50 of CalChats by then, so we can do a live tour of that. Ooh, another shameless plug before I say bye. We do have a virtual experience of the train. So you see the lovely box that Michelle is modeling for us. We have a virtual experience online. If you haven't taken a look at that, you do not need the box, but you can request a box in order to make the experience even better. So if you're curious of what the inside of an EMU looks like, you can go ahead and check that out online. I don't know if anyone wants to link it down below, but we have that experience up, and it should, I know, at least, make you a little bit, make the wait a little shorter while the trains come in. So it's available at calmod.org/VR. So once again, calmod.org/VR if you want to see what the inside of our future EMUs look like. So with that, no more shameless plugins. I think that we have covered everything and a lot more than we had planned. And I will say bye and see you next time.
Great. Thanks a lot, everybody. This was fun.
Bye.